You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Dr. Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic bootcamp, MoveWell University, the Black Diamond Club, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Dr. Alok Trivedi, Universal Traction Systems, Vantage Point Marketing, Element Mattresses, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Chiro Thin, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, and Everest Chiropractic Bootcamp. Let's hustle. Chad Ward over there. He is in Round Rock, Texas, right outside of Austin. I'm out here in Grand Junction, which is in the Grand Valley on the western slope of Colorado, which I like to say it's nowhere where no one lives. And I came here. I moved here to hear the birds chirp, Chad.
I can hear them right now myself.
And just before we get into this full episode, this is sponsored by Element Mattresses. So if you guys want to get the top of the line chiropractic mattress out there, reach out to Bruce Brown and he'll be happy to help you. I'm going to flash his website up on here real quick, and it's elementmattresses.com. And just to let everybody know that we can't be as effective as we are keeping free speech alive and well in chiropractic without our amazing sponsors. So thank you, Bruce Brown and Element Mattresses.
Thank you, Bruce.
Yeah, so Chad, you grew up as a Chiro kid, man. I know that people know a lot about your dad, Charlie Ward, but let's tell them a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
I just figured, I was in business for a while, separate of chiropractic and all that. And, I kept in contact with Dad, of course, and Troy, and they said, you really need to come to work for us. I said, well, I don't know what I would do. I'm just a marketing guy. They said, well, just a marketing guy. That's what we need. We need more of it. And they said, why don't you come down? Mom and Dad, of course, moved to Texas. He says, why don't you come on down to Texas? I was living at the time in upstate New York, Syracuse area. And I said, oh, sure. I don't see why not. And we did that. Moved right out. Loved it. At first, when you thought of Austin, Texas, you thought of something completely different than what Austin is. It was beautiful. I loved it. I've enjoyed working with Dad and Troy and Lori. It's just been tremendous. Growing up as a Chiro kid was a little bit difficult, just to be honest, because the news around school was, hey, your dad's one of those chiropractic guys, right? I'm like, yeah, they're one of those doctors that they think they're doctors, but they're really not. It's not even a real doctor. They're this or that. And I even had one kid play a joke on me one time. Here, I can do what your dad can do. And he took some fun snaps in his hand, and he, of course, twisted the fun snap things or whatever, the bubble wrap thing. Pop, 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 pop. Look, I just adjusted you. Now pay me my money, or something silly like that. So that's how it was. That's what you had to deal with. Because at the time, nobody knew what chiropractic was. It was still considered almost witchcraft, which is evident in the history of chiropractic, of people actually going to jail for causing this manipulation of the spine and doing all this quote unquote damage to the body without any reason. That's what they thought. So I grew up from that point and have seen chiropractic go up and up and up over the years, have seen the miracles that have been created by chiropractic, which I'm sure you're well aware of, Jim. And it's been tremendous. I'm very, very proud to have grown up a son of Dr. Ward and just in chiropractic as a whole altogether.
Yeah, I know it probably took some integrity back in the dark ages of knowledge when you actually had to get an encyclopedia or go to a library to get a book to check something out and to get educated on it, or to build an association. We were talking about that a little bit off of camera, about how it was more of a group. People were more connected in the communities within the chiropractic world than they are now. Now they're more digitally connected. Now they're more Facebook group connected, or the state association doesn't have the same gusto as it once did, because now there's these groups of people that are actually doing management of chiropractic groups where people are spending their time and interests.
Yeah, it's come quite a ways. Marketing, certainly, as I said before, I was a marketing guy before, and when you grew in the time frame that I grew up, marketing was about putting together some creative ads. My little claim to fame is I did an ad one time for a client that did very well. And what we did is we turned the ad upside down. It was very expensive. The newspapers didn't want to do it. Magazines didn't want to do it. Online marketing didn't want to flip an ad upside down because they're too afraid, of course, of all the calls. Hey, you misprinted your ad. But it's stuff like that. But I've watched it grow. And now with social media, it's a different, I think people are expecting that they're going to put some ads onto Facebook, or they're going to do some Google AdWords, or whatever they're going to do, and people are just going to come rolling in the door. And it doesn't quite work that way. And that's why I tell a lot of people, especially chiropractors, I said, don't just pay for an ad. Don't just decide on an ad and then go pay for it and just pump it in right away, unless you know for certain that's going to work. Because people watch, they see the ads, but they don't respond a lot of the times. They don't respond because at that moment they may not have a reason to respond. And people are a little bit lackadaisical when it comes to going to the chiropractor anyway. You'll look at all your inactive, patient folders that you have that are people because they think they're well. So an ad is not going to change their mind, but you do need to keep in front of them at all times. And you do need to continuously be talking about problems that they might have. You have to think of what the questions are going to be before they're even asked. And you have to give answers to that. So when they think back to a video, when they think back, oh yeah, I have that guy on my Facebook, he was talking about that. And don't just stay on Facebook. Believe it or not, Facebook is for old guys like you and I, Jim. Okay, it is. People don't like that, but it's actually something that's a little bit older in the way of older sounds better than old. I think today, if you look at Instagram and all the other social media, there's so much out there. I never thought in a million years that MySpace would have gone away when it came out. I said, nobody's ever going to take this over. And then all of a sudden, Facebook comes along. And now there's a whole bunch of other stuff out there. So when it comes to advertising, when it comes to marketing and stuff like that, you have to try to remember that you just want to put as much information out there as you possibly can and let them decide when they want to come and see you. But you have to keep doing it. And that's really the bottom line. You have to just keep doing it and doing it and doing it all the time. If you, the doctor yourself, are not doing it, make sure your team is posting on there. You don't have to post every day, but at least have maybe one or two or three really good posts, inspiring posts that you put up once a week. You don't want to get follower fatigue. That's one thing you don't want. That makes people unfollow you.
Yeah, and one of the things also, Chad, you mentioned there is consistency, and I tell people all the time, you have to own the space. You have to be the most consistent in the market. Otherwise, like we also discussed off camera, somebody else is going to graduate in 90 days. They're going to come out, move to the town that you've been practicing in for 5 to 10 years, and they're going to start growing faster than you because they've learned how to harness this technology and master these platforms and not be afraid to put their head out there and say, you know what? I'm going to go live twice a week. You know what? I'm going to create 6 months of memes. And I'm going to be posting 3 times a week. I'm going to keep engagement questions going 3 to 5 times a week. I'm going to post 5 times a day because nobody else is doing that in my community. And I'm going to take the space. And I think that that's where we've come to right now is honestly, we're the most even we've ever been. If people want to talk ever about, I know it's been a chiropractic like conversation for years, get on an even playing field. Like there's no greater time right now with what we have at our hands to have an even playing field.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't know what else I could follow up with that. That's everything you said. Is right on the money. Yeah, it's there are newer strategies coming out all the time, and people are
But
going to use them. And if you're not, if you're not part of the conversation, if you're not there at least up with everybody else, you're just going to be left in the dust. I mean, that's all that's going to happen.
and technology travels so fast nowadays, and having proper like levels of reviews on your Google search and reviews on your Facebook page, those things are like worth their weight in gold. And knowing how to manage the platforms and to be able to, like you said, put out content. It doesn't have to be every day like I say you should, but if you find a fine medium there, you have to be consistent though.
I'll say this much. Be careful on how much stock you put in to your reviews. I mean, you want to have good reviews. That's a given. And there's no way to really control. I mean, there is, but it's difficult. If somebody goes to a business and they see, somebody has a blemish, somebody had a disagreement, that's fine. That's okay. Try to work it out with the person so that they'll amend what they've put, or in the comments below, put, hey, you know what, Dr. So-and-so, we talked and we were able to work this out. That's okay. Because I'll be honest with you, if I go to a page and I see all-star, 5-star reviews, I'm thinking just complete, excuse the phrase, but complete BS. I just, if it's just filled and it's got like 2 million, whatever positives, and they're acting like this guy or gal is the second coming, I'm thinking probably, nah, I don't know about all that. I don't think that positive reviews are good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you want to have them, especially for Google, you want to have them there. But I'm just saying, don't be afraid if something negative comes in, because that's an opportunity to work out whatever the difference was and show that you really care about people and that it's not just something someone threw up there and you left it alone.
Sure. So what do you think a good ratio is for people, I guess, getting a bad one? Is it like, for every 20 good ones, you should expect a bad one?
I think, yeah, probably about 1 out of 20. I think that'd probably be a good number. It's just something you don't really think about sometimes, but it's going to happen. If you're getting 1 out of 5, there might be a little reason for concern in there. If you're getting 5 out of 1, going the other direction, you might want to become a mechanic. Not to offend any mechanics.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's how people rate services of businesses. Though they'll look and see who has the most reviews. The one that has 60 reviews and maybe 3 negatives, they'll say, "I'm picking that place to go eat dinner," or "I'm going to go to that place to get my dry cleaning done," or "I'm going to go to this place and get my chiropractor."
True, and again, this goes right back to your content, like you spoke a minute ago. And videos, people need to do videos all the time. They should be doing videos all the time about stuff, because YouTube is the second largest search engine out there. Okay. People love to go and watch videos. If somebody has a problem and, I don't know, they want to jailbreak their iPhone or root their Samsung device or whatever, they can go find it on YouTube. And that's good and bad, because there's nothing worse probably than a partially educated person on something. There's probably nothing worse, because you have just enough knowledge to know what to do, but not enough, brains to really know if you really should be doing it. So it can be damaging sometimes. I don't know if you've ever tried to put your own brakes on your car, but I would prefer to go to the mechanic. And that's what I tell people all the time. I say, hey, put the videos out there. They know if they have the problem, they're going to come see you. You're the expert, so they know. I mean, they know. I'm not going to try to, instead of going to YouTube and watching, like the one guy I saw had a giant piece of pipe. Hey, you don't need chiropractic. Chiropractic's a scam. Now watch what I do here. I'm going to sit down and roll my back across this thing. And I mean, I could actually hear the bones move. I mean, to his credit, he definitely manipulated his spine, but I don't know if it was the type of manipulation that he was looking for. So yeah, a little bit chancy on that one.
It reminds me of that episode of Simpsons when they figure out how to fix people's backs by pushing them over a trash can.
uh, gotta love it, man. You just, and I mean, hey, for people, I mean, we're only laughing, and part of us are laughing, and part of us are upset about it inside when we think about those things. But again, we're only doing it because we're in the profession. You know what I mean? You have to
Sure.
look at people's humor and point of view on the outside. That's why I wouldn't get too upset when people went into that, because I know that, you know, the rest of the world is just outside watching the two get into the argument. Here's the guy over here who's anti-chiropractic. Here's the guy over here who's pro-chiropractic, and vice versa. They're just watching all the bickering going on. So I understand, the humor of people making jokes like that. And I mean, I don't think you can do anything but laugh along with them, to be honest,
Sure.
to be honest,
Yeah.
because, if they really were to experience chiropractic as a lifestyle, not just as an adjustment, not just a single event, but as a lifestyle, and it was all inclusive, brought their family in like they should, I think they'll see the difference.
Yeah, so let's change a little topic here, but I like to ask this question on our actual podcast, and I ask this is my throw you for a curve, but what do you think is the most important thing that's happened to chiropractic in the past 10 years?
The most important thing to happen to chiropractic.
And I'll tell you mine quick, if you
I
don't mind.
believe, I believe, I believe probably the mindset and changing people's minds and view of chiropractic. I think that's come quite a ways. I think people, when I talk to people back when I was like 10 or 11 years of age about chiropractic, oh, those are quacks. Da, 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 da. Nowadays, when I bring it up, are you seeing chiropractor? No, I'm not. I probably should, though. And I have a friend that's going to see it. I mean, the conversation's changed a lot. And I think that's huge because that shows growth. It shows understanding. It means that the message is not only getting out there, but it's getting out there and it's being exampled. It's being, people are being educated properly, even by the medical profession a little bit now, even though that's kind of a sketchy conversation to get into, I know, because some are completely against anything medical coming into their practice, which is fine. It's up to them how they choose to practice. But I think that's the biggest. I think that's probably one of the biggest things for me is the understanding, as far as the general public is concerned, of chiropractic is being done a lot better.
Well, this takes our conversation full circle, Chad, because I think the reason that the conversation has changed is because of platforms like social media.
Yeah.
I think it's because there are chiropractors out there nationwide, coast to coast, that are doing the right work and they're hammering social media. They're putting their videos out there. They're boosting ads. They're doing Facebook ad marketing campaign more than that's ever been done in the history. I think more money is being put in right now to Facebook marketing through the platform ever in the history of chiropractic. There's probably more money spent for marketing chiropractic in the past 3 years than has ever been spent in the history of chiropractic.
Yeah, and I guess you're right about the full circle, because the numbers are increasing as far as people being able to see and hear about what chiropractic is about. It's being, they're being educated in not a invasive matter. They're not someone sitting there saying, you got to go to see a chiropractor and there's no other way. It's giving people options. And letting them decide for themselves what the right option is. And I think because of that conversation, and I think because of the confidence behind it, obviously, which is being driven by the numbers and driven, of course, by the mindset, I think things are getting better and better, and I think they'll continue to get better and better as we go on.
And I think that that's one of the questions I like to ask people a lot, too, is where do you see the chiropractic profession in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years, I think we'll just see more of the same, but it'll just continue the growth, not more of the same where we're at right now, but I think the growth ratio right now where we're at, I think it will continue to grow. I think the understanding will become better and better. And I hope one day I would like to see people refer to chiropractic as something else besides alternative. I've always told people I don't like the word alternative, and maybe that's just me being a Chiro kid, you know. And I'm willing to accept that if that's the case. I'm willing to accept that, but I don't like the word alternative, and then the reason I don't like the word alternative is because if, like we all believe, if the power that made the body can heal the body, we're not putting anything in and we're not taking anything out. How can chiropractic be called an alternative? That's my, that's my biggest thing. If anything, you do this first, and then if that's not working, then you might have to look other places to do things. That should be the alternative, in my opinion. That's just
Hey,
my.
I think you're right. A good friend of mine, Eric Plasker, said this, and it just summed it up really nice for me. He said, first chiropractic, second chiropractic, third chiropractic and meds, fourth chiropractic and surgery. But first and second chiropractic, some things are unavoidable. There's going to be instances where people have gone so far that chiropractic is something that has to be an add-on to the mess that they're in, but still getting
Yeah.
adjusted while they're going through that. It's not an intervention for them. It's now a betterment of quality of life as they're going through this troubled time.
Well, I think, for the ones that are still, kind of when it comes to chiropractic, I, I think they've just been trained to think that way, and we've been trained just to pop a pill, whenever we're having a problem, just throw a pill back. And so I think it comes down to people wanting instant gratification, instant relief of pain, instant whatever. Okay.
You're right.
So I think that's the problem. That's the one thing that still needs to be bled out of the people slowly but surely. Kind of just it needs to be, it's not a good phrase to use, I guess, but it just needs that you need to have time to allow people to get into that mindset. And if they're not there yet, you can't push them, because you push them, they'll just get resentful.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Dr. Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic boot camp, MoveWell University, the Black Diamond Club, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Dr. Alok Trivedi, Universal Traction Systems, Vantage Point Marketing, Element Mattresses, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Chiro Thin, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, and Everest Chiropractic Boot Camp. Let's hustle.
So I think that's important. So over the next 5 years, I plan on seeing continual growth in chiropractic. I think more families will be seen. I mean, if you just go back 10 years, before all these different innovations came out, if you just go back 10, 15, maybe even 20 years, you'll see the growth that's happening, and it's happening at a quicker rate as we excel forward. So I think good things are coming.
Yeah, and people see the house of cards of the medical model falling down around us, and they're like, we want something to be more holistic and organic and healthy. And everybody's flocking to the organic section. Everybody's flocking to staying healthy long term instead of waiting for crisis care to set in. Everybody wants to see a longevity of health instead of having a disconnection from care and from health. And I think chiropractic is that source of providing, just the quality of life ideas. And I think that everything else that the chiropractor does with the adjustment, tuning the nervous system, giving people back their quality of life. And like you said earlier, it's not for the person that just wants to jump in and get the one adjustment, think it's going to change their life. It's the people that consistently do chiropractic as a lifestyle.
And it's more than that even, Jim. I think one of the biggest problems, some people know, some people don't. My girlfriend, Tammy, and I, she experienced something that placed her in the ER. okay, which I, under the circumstances, was completely, accepting of. She had a dissection of the carotid artery. And we went in there, and she was taken in by an ambulance from work because she was very lightheaded. She had symptoms of stroke, basically. And right back, and I had to sit out in the waiting room for a little while. And while I'm sitting in the waiting room, and I'm not putting anybody down or anything like that, but while I'm sitting in the waiting room, here's somebody with a runny nose. Here's somebody with kind of a, I don't know, they had like a little small cut on their hand. And I'm like, is this the ER? Or, it's because I think the point is, it's not to point out, oh, these sissies. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's sort of programmed now that anything small or large, just head right to the ER. Just head right into the ER. Smaller, I don't care if you got a ingrown toenail, an outgrown toenail, my grown toenail, your grown. I don't care what it is. Just go to the ER. And so she goes, she gets out. They give her a plan for treatment, which I have mixed emotions about, but nonetheless, they gave her a plan for treatment and everything. And every time she has an ache or has similar symptoms, and she feels like she needs to go into the ER, she goes in and they send her back to her primary physician. There's no one knows the words I'm leery of, but primary physician. Primary physician sends her home with more medication, and then back to the ER. They tell her to go back, and it's just a circle. It's just kind of a back and forth all the time, passing around. Well, you need a specialist for this and that, but now we have this problem because of your dissection, and we have that problem, and it's just continuous. It's just the medical just feeding each other, one department at a time, and it's scary. Because if they're doing that with her, they're doing it with everyone. Mm-hmm. And Dan Golden told me something that stuck in my mind. I fear to say, but I'm going to just be completely honest here. More than anything, I've even heard from my own father. And that really struck me hard. Dad said a lot of inspirational things over the years to me, don't get me wrong. But this thing stuck in my mind the most. And Dan Golden was telling a story about a medical doctor who hated chiropractic and was, I guess, friends with Dan and just didn't care for it. I mean, they were still friends. They could still have conversation and everything, but he did not like chiropractic. And says, Dan, I'll tell you something. I want to get rid of chiropractic. And Dan turned to him and said, I'll tell you how to do it. Start healing all your patients. You know what I mean? That will take, everything completely out of the game. Yeah, it's true. And when you look at, because nobody heals, they just treat the symptom. And then they have to treat the symptoms that come along because of the previous treatment of symptoms. In other words, pills. They have to continuously do that. And it's crazy.
It's definitely a sick care model. And I tell people this all the time. It's something I've heard from 2 or 3 sources that if we don't close them for chiropractic, then someone else will close them from drugs and surgery. And if we don't tell people the truth about chiropractic today, then somebody else will mislead them on down the line, because eventually somebody's going to come into a situation where they need some type of intervention, and they're either going to trust the holistic hands of the chiropractor, or they're going to be misled by the big medicine machine, and they're going to fall into sick care model.
I don't know. I mean, that's the one thing I would like to see fixed, if that's the proper word, over the next 10 years, as we were discussing previously, is for people to get out of that mindset completely. Fine, medical is there. We definitely need them. They definitely have their place. I just don't think it's in everyday life. And that's not every time you stub your toe or have a small headache or something.
Well, here's the other paradigm, Chad. You should have 2 doctors in your life, one to save you from dying and one to keep you healthy. And
Right.
I believe that that's a case that we need to like really market is the two doctor system. The chiropractor keeps you healthy long term, and then when it comes to the point where you have some type of necessity that's above and beyond the scope of chiropractic, then you need
Oh,
to
sure.
go. You need to go check out this person to save you from dying, because that's the paradigm that we live in.
Sure.
Two doctor paradigm.
Yeah. I know. I have no problem with that at all. I just don't like to see. I would love to see chiropractic and medical cooperate with each other if they came out with a plan that was actually, made some sense to it. I don't care. I don't care for the MDs that suddenly become chiropractors overnight, and I don't mean the ones that literally became chiropractors. I mean talking about you going to see your family physician and they start telling you about the spine and why what the chiropractor is doing, he should be doing this or they should be doing that. She should be doing this. She should be doing that. Look, stay in your lane. That's my whole thing. Stay in your lane. Chiropractor, same thing. Don't walk around with a stethoscope. What are you going to do? I understand. I understand it's a professional look and all that. I get that. But you have to understand the ones who are in the medical industry who don't want you to be able to practice chiropractic will use anything at all that they can. I've seen jokes being made. I'm a real doctor too, with the chiropractor, with the sith, around his neck, and just a bunch of other silly whatevers. But they use all those things to hammer you over the head with, especially with the medical examiner's office. And anything they can point at that makes it look like you're doing something that the medical doctor should be doing. They're going to use that. And I don't like to see that happen. I just, I understand it looks professional and all that, and you want to be professional looking. I get that. But you have to think of not just yourself, you have to think of everybody that affects every time you do that.
Yeah, and you bring up some feelings for me too. Is sometimes I'll be going through LinkedIn and I'll look at people's profiles and it says chiropractic medicine, and I'm like, WTF? What is that? Is that such a thing? And why are we promoting that stuff? Because there's no medicine in chiropractic. There's adjusting in chiropractic. Maybe their title should say chiropractic adjuster, and that would be sufficient. But when they say chiropractic medicine, it throws me for a loop. And I'm just like, that's a totally mixed signal communication to the marketplace that there's even a medicine concept in chiropractic.
I think, a lot of the times, I think they use the word chiropractic medicine. So what is medicine? When you think of medicine, you think of a pill, okay, or a shot or something like that, and maybe they're trying to tug on the heartstrings a little bit of the person. Oh, that's a type of medicine. It's chiropractic medicine. What is chiropractic medicine? If you get someone to ask that question, you can give them the answer. So marketing wise, I understand. I get that. It doesn't matter how you get someone to ask what chiropractic is, as long as you get them to ask what chiropractic is. But I think you have to be careful because there are really some states, especially here in Texas, we've had some round and rounds with the examiner's office, and you just I don't want to say too much, but you just have to be careful with your choice of words and
Sure.
what it is that you're claiming to treat. You just have to be careful. I don't want to see anybody get wrapped up in a political battle like that.
Sure. Well, let's throw the ball back into your court a little bit, and let's talk a little bit about what you're doing with your dad and your guys' coaching group, and a little bit about this event you guys have coming up in Jersey, October 12th and 13th.
Yeah. Well, when I usually get this is funny when I say this, some people laugh. I get handed the problem child, and what that means, in the coaching arena. And what that usually means is someone who is not up to performance level as far as marketing, as far as email marketing, social media, talking people out of the Twitter thing, because a lot of people love Twitter, but it doesn't do that much for them as far as growing their practice goes. And they're just having some struggles like that. Getting their team, but my job involves more working with the team, getting them up to par, getting them to the point where they can go out and find their own content to start bringing over to Facebook, starting the blog process. If there's doctors out there that do not have a blog, they're not blogging, please start blogging. Please. I mean, this is what every time someone does a search on Google for whatever, wallet sciatica, whatever it might be, okay, you need to have an article out there. If you want to be found in your local area, you have to come across as an authority, someone who can speak intelligently on some of the conditions that you're having. That blog is going to go on your main hub, your website. That link for that particular blog is going to be on Google. You can also share that on Facebook, on Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. Put the URL into YouTube. I mean, there's a lot of different places. You want to get that information out to as many people as you can, especially in your local community. So one of the things that I do first is to sort of evaluate that local area around where the doctor is actually practicing. Try to see what everybody else is doing. Try to see what's going on, what are the latest trends, if you will, of digital marketing, of Facebook marketing, Instagram, whatever it might be, email, whatever. I don't advocate email marketing because, let's be honest, nobody really looks at their emails that much anymore. It's funny to think that the junk mail we consider junk mail now is no longer the junk mail. The new junk mail is email. And because, let's be honest, 90% of the stuff you get in there, everything from vacations on to how to increase the size of certain parts of your body, and all these different things. You'll get weight loss, you name it. There's 100 billion things. So anyway, that's pretty much what I do. I have to look at everything. It's a little more lengthy than it appears. I know I make it sound very law is a law, and just kind of easy. It's not easy. You have to look at each territory differently. You have to get the doctor to find what they want to specialize in. I specialize in chiropractic. Okay, but if you had the perfect patient, what would it be?
Sure.
Do you want it to be somebody who has neuropathy? Do you want somebody that is, what is it? What is your perfect patient? What age range is that patient? And now find a way to target that audience. Give them the information. Once you've targeted them, give them the information that they've already been looking for, and give them a source to call home. In this case, your wellness center, your practice. That's the bottom line. That's our ultimate goal, and we're pretty successful at doing that.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's been cool to get to know you over the past year, since last year's Chiro Sushi, where we first had our ability to make friends with each other and appreciate each other over these past couple months, and see how each other have, prospered, waving their own chiropractic flag out there, showing that we support the future of this beautiful profession. So there's this event that you were telling me about, October 12th and 13th out in New Jersey. Go
ahead.
No, where do people go to get more information on that? And do you guys got any promos?
Yeah, we do, actually. They can go to wardsuccess.com, but if they go through you, Jim, in other words, if they want to go through this comment or come to the Dr. Ward Innate Legacy page, which you can find, it's on my friends list, Charles Ward. If you go through there, I'll get the messages. Just say that you're listening to the the live event on Facebook, and I'll make sure that you get a $35 entrance fee as a student, as long as the student is willing to bring a current practicing DC. That means they'll both get in for $35. Okay, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. We're going to have a lot of stuff going on. A lot of really good marketing stuff. Excellent speakers. We're going to have Bill Esteb will be there. He's awesome. Bill. There's going to be some awesome people. Larry Markson is actually going to show up and do some speaking as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a really, really cool event. But get on board quickly, because we'll fill the seats up pretty fast. Anything else that you have as far as questions?
I was just gonna tell people that if they did come to this, it would be a bring a buddy type system.
Yeah.
You, the student, brings the doc, and then you guys can have a good weekend learning marketing strategies and learning from one of the best out there, Dr. Charles Ward, who's going to have, like you said, Larry Marks and Bill Steb at the event. You guys are going to probably teach them real good takeaways. And it's in New Jersey, you said, on October 12th and 13th. And at that point, in this part of the interview process, I tell you if there's anything you didn't talk about that you'd like to share with our audience. I
think that pretty much wraps it up, Jim. They can call if they want, and they can speak with Lori. That's 925-855-1635, or they can email Lori, just Lori at innatelegacy.com, and that's INNATELEGACY.com. But the best way is just to go to the website and click. There's a little phone on the top of the website. If you just click on that from your mobile device, that'll call the office directly. Let them know that you spoke to me through the Facebook Live with Jim Chester. As a student, you'll get a $35. It doesn't really matter. I mean, the doctor can go find a student to bring too. $35 is kind of a two-way road there, but either way, it'll be worth it. Seeing it's not just because it's dad either. I mean, I just listen to the responses that we get. We have a lot of good information to give, and if you decide to sign up as a client, great. If not, there's not going to be any pressure. We're not going to run around chase you. I'm a big guy. They're not going to have me knock on your hotel room with a pen and paper like a scene from The Godfather or anything like that. We want to educate. We want to see chiropractic go from here and just continue to go up and up and up. And one of the things we'll be focusing on in that session will be turning your patients into lifelong patients, into wellness care, not just keeping them. And a lot of people have a hard time breaking that. We get a lot of guys and gals that get to that 150 ceiling. Somehow they can't get through it. We get them through, and we just like that, we get them through it. It's easy to say, but come to our website. There's testimonials there. If you want to talk to other doctors that have used this in the past, by all means, please do. I don't think you could find one that would tell you we didn't hit every goal we shot for.
Awesome, Chad. Well, I just want to say thank you to the people that have been on this live stream with us. Michael Tokash with Imaging Services is one of our contributors to sponsorship for the Chiro Hustle podcast and live stream. And then we have Catherine Shantz Delaney, who says hello to both of us. Michael says, nice, great advice. Yes, a force to deal with. And I just want to say once again to Bruce Brown with Element Mattresses, thank you for sponsoring this episode of the Chiro Hustle Evening Edition. And if you guys want more information, I'm sure I can get Chad to put the URLs and the links into the comment section here. So when you guys do decide to go check out his event in October, you guys will have the links and all the information of how to do that. We'll make sure that the numbers and the email address is out there as well. So anybody that is interested, go ahead and comment into the chat feed that you watched this on replay, if it's on replay. And if you guys had watched this from the beginning to the end, I just want to really say thank you to everybody that's been on with us. And Chad, I want you to have a wonderful night, my friend.
You too, buddy. And I'll put that link out there as soon as we get off here for everybody.
Awesome. And I'm going to close out by telling everybody, you guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. See you guys on the next episode. See you, Chad.
Ciao.
Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.